Triceratops was one of the most iconic dinosaurs that ever lived. These three-horned beasts were among the last of the dinosaurs, living only 68 million years ago. That's 23 million years before the asteroids came and wiped out the dinosaurs. This gives us an idea of what life was like for these beasts during the days leading up to their extinction. But it also makes them one of the most mysterious dinosaurs we have ever found, because fossils of this dinosaur are found all over North America. We can learn a lot about the species from the fossils that have been discovered so far, and it's giving scientists an insight into what daily life looked like for these gigantic animals. Today we will explore what daily life looked like for a Triceratops. A Triceratops could grow up to 9 meters long and weigh almost 7 tons. It was huge and scary looking, with its most notable feature being the 3 horns that grew from the front of its head. 2 of these horns pointed out to the sides and 1 pointed straight up. The 3 horns would have been connected by a bony frill that would have protected the dinosaur's neck. Triceratops is thought to have used its horns for defense and display, but it's possible that they were also used for fighting other Triceratops. A Triceratops had a beak similar to a bird's beak, which it used to eat plants. Scientists think that Triceratops were mostly herbivores, but some of them might have been omnivores. They ate low-growing plants, ferns, cycads, and conifers. Their teeth were like those of a mammal, perfect for grinding plants. Some scientists believe that the males were bigger than the females. Most of the adult Triceratops weighed between 4 and 6 tons, but there was at least one species of Triceratops, the T. auranti acuta, that reached lengths of up to 12 meters. If true, this would make it the largest of the horned dinosaurs. Triceratops lived in what is now western North America during the late Cretaceous period. In the 1870s, the first fossils of a Triceratops were discovered in Montana. Since then, hundreds of fossils have been found, many of them in Montana and Wyoming. They're usually found in layers of rock called the Hell Creek Formation and the Lance Creek Formation. These rocks are 68 million years old. So how did Triceratops live their lives? A Triceratops hatched from an egg that was around 23 centimeters long. When they hatched, they were probably about 1 meter long and weighed around 4 kilograms. Baby Triceratops would have stayed with their family group for a few months while they learned to fend for themselves. Just like baby birds, they would have needed their parents to teach them things like where to find food and how to defend themselves. It would have taken them a couple of years to reach maturity, although scientists are unsure of the exact amount of time. When they were adults, it's thought that Triceratops lived in herds. Herds would have been made up of related females, their offspring, and a few adult males. Males would have fought each other for the right to mate, but they would also team up to protect the herd. Members of the herd would have grazed on low-lying plants while the males stood guard. They would have moved from place to place in search of new grass to eat. During the day, they would need to constantly move in order to avoid being attacked by predators. The main predator they would have needed to look out for was the Tyrannosaurus rex. Tyrannosaurus rex was the top predator in the area. While it was not as big as the Giganotosaurus or the Spinosaurus, it was still a fearsome beast. It was fast, it was strong, and it had huge jaws full of sharp teeth. There may have even been packs of them hunting Triceratops. In order to survive, a Triceratops would need to be wary at all times. They would have needed to keep an eye out for predators. Even if a Triceratops managed to escape the clutches of a Tyrannosaurus rex, it would still need to look out for other predators such as the Ankylosaurus, the Daspletosaurus, the Lambeosaurus, and the Pachycephalosaurus. To top it all off, there would have been packs of smaller meat-eaters, such as the Utah raptor and the Boropelta markmicheli hunting them as well. Not only would a Triceratops need to watch out for predators, but there would also be competition for food. Not only other dinosaurs, but also mammals and turtles would have been scavenging for the same plants that the Triceratops wanted to eat. Triceratops would have needed to get to the plants before any of the other herbivores in the area, otherwise they would not have enough to eat. Sometimes there might have been so little food available that a Triceratops would have needed to travel hundreds of miles in search of more. This would have been hard work and would have put a lot of stress on their bodies. Triceratops lived in an age when the continents were splitting apart. This means that there would have been earthquakes, volcanoes, and fast-flowing rivers. Triceratops would have needed to be careful when crossing rivers. Not only could they have been swept away by the current, but they could also have been attacked by fish or crocodiles. In the end, Triceratops went extinct along with all the other dinosaurs except birds, that is. We do not know exactly why they went extinct, but it probably had something to do with the fact that the supercontinent Pangaea broke up and the climate changed drastically. This would have caused a mass extinction event, although it didn't kill off all life on Earth. Scientists are currently working on finding out what the asteroid impact had on Triceratops. Was it immediate or did it take time to wipe them out? Did they die from the impact itself or from the effects that followed, such as a change in climate or damage to the ecosystem? Unfortunately, we've never found a Triceratops fossil that has a piece of the asteroid inside it, so we don't know exactly how they died. Fossils tell us a lot about how ancient animals died. Usually, we can tell how an animal died based on the position of its bones and whether or not it has any injuries. For example, a fossilized dinosaur with a broken tail and leg bones found in an upright position might have been trying to run from a predator when it fell over and died. On the other hand, a dinosaur fossil found with bones in a pile might have been part of a mass casualty event, such as being wiped out by a volcanic eruption. Unfortunately, Triceratops fossils aren't very helpful in this regard. All the bones are usually scattered, making it difficult to determine how they died. Also, because their skulls were so large, it's easy for them to break during the fossilization process. This means that sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not they died with a skull. Although there are many gaps in our knowledge, we can piece together what life was like for a Triceratops by looking at the environment that they lived in. The environment that they lived in was hot and humid, but it did experience seasonal changes. The summers were hot and dry, and the winters were cold and wet. Because of this, the vegetation would change throughout the year. During the summer, the land would have been covered with ferns, cycads, and conifers. These plants would have provided plenty of food for the Triceratops. But during the winter, many of these plants would have died back, leaving the Triceratops with less food to eat. The environment would have also affected the behavior of the Triceratops. During the summer, they would have needed to spend more time looking for food. This means that they would have needed to be more active during the hottest parts of the day. In the winter, there would have been less food available. This would have meant that the Triceratops would have needed to conserve energy. Because of this, they would have been less active during the day and would have spent more time resting. And that's what daily life looked like for a Triceratops. It might seem like life was pretty tough for a Triceratops, and it was, but they were perfectly adapted to their environment. They had horns to defend themselves with and beaks to eat plants with. They also had a frill to protect their necks and were probably good swimmers. With all these adaptations, it's no wonder that Triceratops were able to survive for so long. Although they eventually went extinct, they will live on in our memories forever. Thanks for watching.